Long before the telegraph, people sought ways to communicate over long distances. Ancient civilizations used smoke signals, drum beats, and semaphore systems. These methods were limited by distance and environmental conditions. Messages could take days or weeks to travel between cities. The need for faster communication led to various experiments. The study of electricity began in the 18th century. Scientists like Benjamin Franklin conducted experiments with lightning. Luigi Galvani and Alessandro Volta explored electrical currents. These early studies laid the groundwork for electrical communication. By the early 19th century, inventors were exploring how to use electricity to send messages quickly. Early experiments with electric communication faced many challenges. Conducting electricity over long distances was difficult. Insulating materials were not yet advanced. Despite these obstacles, inventors persisted in their efforts. They saw the potential for a revolutionary new form of communication. The quest for long-distance communication continued. The discovery of electromagnetism by Hans Christian Ørsted and André-Marie Ampère provided new insights. This discovery was crucial for the development of the telegraph. It allowed inventors to envision a system where electrical signals could travel over wires. The first telegraph systems emerged in the early 19th century. One of the earliest was created by Baron Schilling in 1832. His telegraph used a needle to point to different letters. However, it was not practical for widespread use. The system was too complex and expensive to produce on a large scale. In 1837, William Fothergill Cooke and Charles Wheatstone developed another telegraph system. Their device used 5 needles to point to letters on a board. This system was more efficient than Schilling's, but still had limitations. It required multiple wires, which made it costly to install and maintain. Despite these challenges, their telegraph was used along railway lines in England. Another early telegraph was invented by Carl Friedrich Gauss and Wilhelm Weber in Germany. Their system used a single wire and a moving magnet. It was simpler than previous designs, but still faced technical challenges. The need for complex equipment made it hard to implement widely. These early telegraph systems marked important steps forward. However, they were not yet practical for global communication. Inventors continued to refine their designs. They aimed to create a more efficient and cost-effective system. This quest eventually led to the breakthrough innovations of Samuel Morse. Samuel Morse was an American artist and inventor. He became interested in telegraphy after a personal tragedy. In 1825, Morse's wife died while he was away. The slow communication prevented him from returning in time. This experience motivated him to find a faster way to send messages. Morse developed a new telegraph system in the 1830s. His design used a single wire and an electromagnet. When electricity passed through the wire, it activated the magnet. This made a marker move on a piece of paper, creating dots and dashes. Morse's system was simpler and more efficient than previous designs. Morse also created a code to use with his telegraph. This code, known as Morse code, assigned dots and dashes to letters and numbers. For example, the letter A was a dot followed by a dash. This code allowed messages to be sent quickly and accurately. It was easy to learn and use, making it ideal for widespread communication. Morse's innovations revolutionized telegraphy. His system was practical and cost-effective. It required fewer wires and less equipment. Morse code made it possible to send complex messages quickly. These developments paved the way for the first successful telegraph demonstration. The first successful telegraph demonstration took place on May 24, 1844. Samuel Morse sent a message from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore, Maryland. The message read, "What hath God wrought?" It was a historic moment. The telegraph proved that long-distance communication could be achieved quickly and reliably. The demonstration was a significant milestone. It showed the potential of Morse's telegraph system. News of the successful demonstration spread quickly. People recognized the telegraph's potential to transform communication. It was a major breakthrough in technology. Following the demonstration, the US government funded the construction of a telegraph line between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. This line became the first commercial telegraph line in the United States. It marked the beginning of a new era in communication. The success of the telegraph demonstration inspired others. Inventors and entrepreneurs saw opportunities for new telegraph networks. The demand for faster communication grew. The telegraph began to spread across the United States and around the world. This expansion had far-reaching impacts on society. Section 5. Expansion of telegraph networks and submarine cables. The expansion of telegraph networks was rapid. By the 1850s, telegraph lines connected major cities in the United States and Europe. The telegraph made it possible to send messages across vast distances in minutes. Businesses, governments, and individuals quickly adopted this new technology. One of the biggest challenges was connecting different continents. This required laying submarine telegraph cables. The first successful submarine cable was laid between France and England in 1850. It was a significant achievement, but the cable soon failed. Engineers learned from this failure and improved their techniques. In 1858, the first transatlantic telegraph cable was laid between Ireland and Newfoundland. This cable connected Europe and North America. It was a monumental achievement in engineering. The transatlantic cable allowed messages to be sent between continents in minutes. It transformed global communication. The expansion of telegraph networks continued. By the late 19th century, telegraph lines and submarine cables connected almost every part of the world. The telegraph became a vital part of global infrastructure. It revolutionized communication and had profound impacts on various sectors. Section 6. The transatlantic telegraph cable. The transatlantic telegraph cable was a landmark in communication history. Its construction faced numerous challenges. The Atlantic Ocean presented harsh conditions. The cable had to withstand deep sea pressures and strong currents. Engineers developed new techniques to overcome these obstacles. The first attempt to lay a transatlantic cable in 1858 was met with excitement. However, the cable stopped working after a few weeks. It was a major setback, but it provided valuable lessons. Engineers improved the design and materials for the next attempt. In 1866, a new transatlantic cable was successfully laid. This cable was more durable and reliable. It marked the beginning of uninterrupted transatlantic communication. Messages could now be sent between Europe and North America in minutes. This was a significant improvement over the weeks it took for letters to cross the ocean. The transatlantic cable had a profound impact. It connected continents and brought people closer together. It facilitated international trade, diplomacy, and personal communication. The cable was a technological marvel of its time. It symbolized the power of innovation and human ingenuity. Section 7. Impact on business. The telegraph revolutionized business communication. Before the telegraph, businesses relied on mail and messengers. This was slow and unreliable. The telegraph allowed businesses to send messages instantly. It transformed how companies operated. Businesses used the telegraph to communicate with suppliers and customers. Orders and confirmations could be sent quickly. This improved efficiency and reduced delays. The telegraph also allowed businesses to monitor market prices in real time. This was particularly important for industries like finance and commodities. The telegraph became essential for the stock market. Brokers used it to transmit stock prices and trade orders. It enabled more efficient and transparent trading. The telegraph also facilitated international trade. Businesses could communicate with partners and clients in other countries instantly. The impact of the telegraph on business was profound. It made it possible to conduct business on a global scale. It reduced the time and cost of communication. The telegraph was a key driver of economic growth in the 19th century. It transformed the way businesses operated and connected the world. Section 8. Influence on journalism. The telegraph also had a major impact on journalism. Before the telegraph, news traveled slowly. Newspapers relied on correspondence and mail to gather news. This often meant that news was outdated by the time it was published. The telegraph changed this dramatically. With the telegraph, news could be transmitted instantly. Newspapers could get reports from distant locations quickly. This allowed them to publish more timely and accurate news. The telegraph made it possible to cover events as they happened. It brought a new immediacy to journalism. Wire services like the Associated Press emerged in the 19th century. These agencies used the telegraph to gather and distribute news. They provided newspapers with timely and reliable reports from around the world. This transformed the news industry and increased the speed of information dissemination. The telegraph also changed the nature of news writing. Journalists had to write concise and clear messages. They developed the inverted pyramid style, where the most important information came first. This style is still used in journalism today. The telegraph revolutionized how news was gathered, written, and distributed. Section 9. Military uses of the telegraph. The military quickly recognized the value of the telegraph. It provided a way to transmit orders and intelligence rapidly. During the Crimean War in the 1850s, the British Army used the telegraph to communicate with London. This was one of the first instances of telegraphy in military operations. The American Civil War saw extensive use of the telegraph. Both the Union and Confederate armies used it to coordinate troop movements and logistics. President Abraham Lincoln used the telegraph to communicate directly with his generals. This allowed for more efficient command and control. The telegraph also played a role in World War I. Armies used it to coordinate operations over large distances. It was crucial for communication between headquarters and frontline units. The telegraph allowed for real-time communication in the heat of battle. The telegraph had a significant impact on military strategy and operations. It allowed for faster decision-making and coordination. It transformed how wars were fought and managed. The telegraph became an essential tool for military communication in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Section 10. The decline of the telegraph. The telegraph was a revolutionary technology, but its dominance was not to last. The invention of the telephone in 1876 by Alexander Graham Bell marked the beginning of its decline. The telephone allowed for voice communication over long distances. It was more personal and immediate than the telegraph. As telephone networks expanded, the use of the telegraph began to decrease. Businesses and individuals preferred the convenience of the telephone. The telegraph remained in use for certain applications, but its role diminished. The rise of radio and later digital communication further accelerated its decline. The advent of the internet in the late 20th century marked the end of the telegraph era. Email and instant messaging offered even faster and more versatile communication. The telegraph became obsolete in the face of these new technologies. By the early 21st century, telegraph services had largely disappeared. The telegraph's decline does not diminish its historical significance. It was a groundbreaking technology that transformed communication. It paved the way for future innovations in telecommunications. The telegraph's legacy lives on in the digital communication technologies we use today.